There we are.
I was saying,
Here's a poem for the season. It's quite an old one of mine, called Solstice, which of course is next Monday officially. But there's an element of hope in this poem, and I think just at the moment I've had the news on in the corner while you've been setting up, and the news is not good out there at the moment. So this is Solstice, and let's just have some hope for next year, shall we? And now the year turns. Short, dark days close as Earth's circle allows the hope of light to kindle fresh beginnings. And the weight of midwinter lifts. The still air chills all life. We are numb leaves frozen in ice, suspended between the end and the suggestion of silent creation. All is poised in soundless waiting. No breath moves the winter shadow. But soft, listen, hush, hush. And now the year turns. Trembling shivers the breeze. Oh, sorry. Trembling shivers of breeze loosen the endless shroud of cold mist. The sleeping spirit quivers as hard earth is roused, and slow sap stirs and yawns. A ray of fragile sun, and now the year turns. Hope is held in pale dawn as the first light creeps under nature's unmoving skin. Warmth touches the moment, and now we can allow the seed of expectation to encourage the rotation of life to begin. Thank you.
I will read a poem called Prison Sands, and this is from my book of poems called Prison Talkies. And you know what, this is the closest Christmas one that I have right now, but wishing everybody Merry Christmas, and not to spoil the mood, the festive mood, but this is actually based on my experience of detention in the United States, and it so happened it was a shock of my life as well. I was almost going to get my green card and ended up being declared an illegal alien. So this was picked up from that experience. It's called Prison Sands. Like it's in a series of prison choir and prison chapel and prison sands. In the chapel, for there was one, in the prison, inside of it, a chapel, where people met, for prisoners were still people, but she could not decide, people primarily in the chapel or prisoners. For correction was not as big in praying as it seemed to be creeping in, and church women read from the Bible, beautiful chapters of elegant prose, and left people with things to believe in, printed words, letters, books of more than sacred nature. So thank you.
Middle-aged man, dispossessed, distressed, diagnosis of neurosis superseded at best. Brain is divergent, its function insurgent. It's not a disease, just a different perspective, subjective, removed from the collective, not defective, not neurotypical, linguistically hypocritical. Calling difference disorder is clinically cynical. Pinnacle irony explains the anxiety, neurovariety. Me being me defines impropriety outside of society. But this is just how you view my reality. Empathy, sympathy, all is futility. We have different ways. When I don't meet your gaze or remember your face or your name, and I phrase my speech in ways that suggest I'm playing a game or apportioning blame in some way, defaming your typical brain. I mean no offence, that's not my intent, as hell's road is paved with the best of intentions, by dissension from conventions and conversational pretensions, I'm eternally damned by misapprehension. I'm not neurodiverse, in fact, quite the reverse. It's perverse to infer an adversity to normalcy. The reality is chronically recurring banality, an idiosyncrasy that incomprehensibly posits reality as neurodemocracy. I'm the same as before, and I'm sure you'll afford me the courtesy expected as regards typicality. If it helps you to label me by way of alleviant, allow me to reinvent, pose my own argument. Disobedient yet radiant, I'll accept neurodeviant.
But this poem, the name is The Little Mermaid Gets Real. It's of Janice Soderling. She wrote the poem. I just translated. I will read it in Spanish before. Or in English. What do you want?
Let's have the Spanish first.
Okay. La sirenita se hace real. Haré cualquier cosa, dije, por lo mucho que te amo. Lo que sea, no importa lo que duela. El príncipe sonrió, mientras me observaba reptar en mi edad acuática. Esta es mi chica, le dijo. Le respondí, te amo. Este tipo de cosas banales llenaban la conversación por aquel entonces, en que mi cerebro estaba lleno de agua y mis ojos cegados de visiones de una vida en tierra seca. El país del príncipe, rodeado de países, su reino. Así que dije, por supuesto, a todo lo que me sugería por aquel entonces, accedí a las muchas operaciones con las que me convertiría en una mujer real. Los primeros pequeños cambios no dolieron nada. Uñas postizas, no te comas las uñas, me advirtió un viejo hábito mío, uno bastante malo, muy malo. Pelo implantado, labios de botox. Casi no podía creer que fuera yo. Un doctor me estiró mis ojos desorbitados y mi nariz enorme y reanimó mis pechos con mucha silicona. Extrajo mis dientes mandibulares y mis costillas inferiores y finalmente, lo más maravilloso, el príncipe cayó en éxtasis. Me sometí a la gran operación que convirtió mi fina cola de pez en piernas. No solo podría usarlas para caminar, sino que podría abrirlas. Estuve muy preocupada con esa operación. No solo porque decían que era dolorosa, no solo porque mi mejor amiga Minnie dijo, cada uno tiene su verdad. Y después dejó de hablar conmigo. Pero el príncipe me confirmó hace tiempo que fue una fina cola de pez lo que le atrajo de mí a primera vista. Rizada, exótica, sonrió, alándome para sí, acariciando con los dedos de arriba abajo mis escamas. Tuve una erección tan dura, solo de ver cómo me necesitabas, chica. Después dijo, cuando te conocí no podías ni siquiera caminar. Cuando mi brillante, injertado cabello se deslizó por sobre mis desnudos, siliconados pechos, el príncipe sonrió y abrió sus manos. Esta total transformación fue seguida de un total control. Te lo estoy diciendo solo por tu bien. El príncipe explicó. ¿Quieres ser una mujer real o no? Me dijo cómo votar, cómo sostenerme mi copa de vino, cómo caminar con soltura. Hubiera caminado mejor si mis pies no hubieran sido moldeados con toda aquella silicona, pero chapoteaba lo mejor que podía, recordando siempre no dejar de sonreír. El príncipe dejó de quejarse y comenzó a hacer largos viajes de negocios. Fue esa la más infeliz época. Pensé que al fin me había convertido en una mujer de verdad. No comprendía que no tenía gracia ser un controlador cuando no se ofrece resistencia al control. Cuando el príncipe colocaba su pasaporte y billete de vuelo en su bolsillo interior o tenía que dormir en otra ciudad los fines de semana para arreglar cosas por ahí, una frase críptica que entendí mucho después. Yo me quedaba en la cornisa de la ventana diciendo adiós sin parar hasta que se perdía su casco. A veces me reunía con viejas amigas frente al mar en un café. Ellas nadaban cerca de mí, hablábamos, reíamos, como en los viejos tiempos. Me decían que yo lucía tan bien, y me preguntaban, ¿valió la pena? Yo decía, sí, claro, sí. Y Minnie decía, con el ceño fruncido, pero no te duele cuando caminas. Yo le explicaba otra vez, solo cuando llevo tacones. Y de todas maneras, ¿qué no sería una mujer de verdad? ¿Qué no haría una mujer de verdad por amor? Ella parecía insultarse y se hundía en su reloj resistente de agua. Decía que se le había hecho tarde, que lo mejor sería regresar. Me imagino que has oído hablar de este final. No es nada exactamente nuevo. Un día, el príncipe llegó a casa después de un viaje y me dijo que quería el divorcio. Había rescatado a una doncella indefensa de un fiero dragón y ella lo necesitaba. Pero yo te necesito más, príncipe. Lloré. Te amo. Me miró con una mirada aburrida y me dijo, no lo había notado. El castillo está a mi nombre, por cierto. Yo me aferraba a su cuello y lloraba. ¿Pero qué hice mal? Y él respondió, sabía que ibas a decir eso. Eres tan predecible, querida.
Presenta. Anwyl Sean Corn, neu bwy bynnag da ni'n feddwl sy'n na am hegwn y gogledd neu begwn bod. Mi fuon ni'n credu ers blynyddoedd rhai ohonon ni, lot ohonon ni, os oedden ni'n deud gwir, am ddolig distawach, am dyfarna llai chwyslu eu croeso cras, a llai o siopa cael a chael a chael, am beth bynnag o pethau pwysig llynedd. A tha tion am fod rhaid, am fymryn o lonydd i hreithi am ryw hen wyrdd. Cewch. Dear Father Christmas, or whoever we think is there in Lapland or Neverland, we've been moaning year after year, some of us, a lot of us, if we were telling the truth, of course, for a Christmas that's quieter, for pubs less sweaty their welcome, for less shopping for this and that and this, whatever was the rage last year, and fewer parties where we turn up because we should, for a little peace to contemplate a lost miracle. You got it.
What I've started doing is asking friends to share their art with me, and I stick it in my Zoom meeting so people can look at it. And this is a photograph from my friend Zamara Quayun, she's actually an American Ecuadorian artist. And I'm working on a piece about women's identity in America. And I'm working with the Smithsonian Institute. There's a kind of a writers group. And what they do is they put up a picture and then you write something about it. And they put up a picture of Dorothy Parker. And this is what I got from the picture. It was just her in black holding herself, looking off to the side, holding myself together. I know what you are expecting, some dry, witty, crushing remark that will make you smile when you shouldn't. But not today. This works. This is me, always looking to the side, always looking past people into the next room. Because, darling, if you stop and really look, I'll really know them and really care. And I can't have that. Well, why? Because they always leave the party much earlier than I want them to. Then I'm left with another piece gone and so much more to hold together than before. So keep those newspaper clippings of me smiling at the table with the brilliant and the beautiful. Applaud my wit and look up to me because I dare to speak, and for God's sake, buy the damn magazine. But no, you haven't purchased anything real, any part of me.
Rudolph. No daughter of mine is going to be seen with a red-nosed reindeer. That's what Clarice's dad says in a disapproving voice so clear, Clarice can't help but hear how much her father sounds like Richard Nixon, rooting out communists in Washington. Clarice took a shine to Rudolph in school, None of his other classmates thought he was even close to being cool. In child's play, he was the fool. Rudolph didn't look right, and he got laughed at as a rule. If he missed the shot or dropped the ball, the bullies got cruel. He got put down and he didn't get picked for pickup games because of other little people's expectations that Rudolph was supposed to be a loser with no friends. What else could Comet the Coats at Christmastown even say? We all want to pull Santa's sleigh someday, right? Right. Not me, speak for yourself. I don't want to eat hay. Hey. Me, a little kid watching and talking back to our family black and white TV. We'll call him Rudolph, Donner the dad says on a whim. Rudolph's father has the power to name him and the power to shame him too. A dad who doesn't accept his son on sight. Donner looks at Rudolph with the red nose so bright and decides to cover that red nose up and make it brown. So Rudolph might please Santa, the shamer in chief who is CEO in Christmastown. He has 4 lists, not 2 like most everyone's thought. Who is naughty, who is nice, who is normal, and who is not. Smiling Sam the snowman sells Christmastown. He never wears a frown. He has that constant positive attitude. He would even melt with gratitude. Sam says to the nation's children softly and reassuringly, everything runs normally and runs smoothly at the toy factory and reindeer school. Business goes on as usual. There's nothing strange like climate change. Mr. and Mrs. Claus live in a castle and eat gingerbread cookies and delicious soufflés, while the reindeer dwell in caves and the elves suffer tooth decay, with no health service and no way to pay a dentist. But hey, it's all good, that's how it is, Sam the snowman does say. Right, right, right. Hermie is at the elf shop and the head elf's employ. There's whispering. He's not a regular sort of boy. He's not singing from the same page, making the same toy. Hermie decides he wants to be a dentist. The head elf hears this and gets pissed. It's unkind how the boss puts Hermie in a double bind. He orders the free thinker to fit in and also tells him he never will. And then Hermie realizes he just can't win, trying to live with the head elf's crazy-making discipline. He clocks out and searches for a new life in the darkness at the edge of Christmastown. Where do all we outsiders go when it is time to leave the only place we thought we'd ever know and wander around like refugees in the snow, going through divorce, getting disabled, or done in suffering some other grievous blow? Why, we all find a home on the island of misfit toys, men and women, girls and boys. But here's to Rudolph's red nose. Everybody knows it glows. That nose also blows for a neoliberal meritocracy, for a market society, for when the weather is foggy or stormy on Christmas Eve, and especially on a color TV. That nose increases Rudolph's marginal revenue product to infinity. You might say it's his windfall, his payday. That nose is the reason Rudolph goes down in history as a 4-legged celebrity. That nose is even more. It's every kid's dream of growing up to be a superstar, but without living in a social democracy which cares for them, win or lose, rich or poor. Almost no kid will get very far. If you want the truth about the underdog who was a reindeer, let me make one thing perfectly clear. Get the inside story. That has nothing to do with how Rudolph got glory or even with the purpose for which he was fit. Reindeer can't really fly, and that's just it. Take that from this old Egypt. But that is not all. If you have always been a has-been, a reject or a misfit, never popular or useful or normal, just be yourself and stand tall. You have a value that is more than just instrumental. You may not be accepted or appreciated today, but if this is so, then that is okay. If you still get left on the shelf, you shouldn't feel ashamed of yourself. There's always tomorrow for dreams to come true on the island of misfit toys. If you feel alone, you're in very good company. Just wait and see. The story may take a turn. The plot might have a twist. Some people will change their mind and find you are what everyone else had always missed. Earlier, the valuable silver sought after, finally recognized and discovered when everyone else just wanted to accumulate gold, which is the real reason why, come whatever may, the story of Rudolph never gets old.
On this last day in April, I start to wonder, am I feeling older? What is it like to own a new year? I dodged April Fool's Day by 2 days, although there's those who claim that was a clerical error. that Ludramon, he was surely born on the 1st. Is that a blue whale emerging from the floor to give me a nod and a wink? And there's no sign of Noah this time, and it trailing yellow seaweed, the ruination of my red carpet. If Malachi were here, he'd enjoy this, the ruining of my carpet, and the chance to hop on a whale, to swim off and sail the surreal seas of New Pangaea. He doesn't value Dali, rather like Gombrich, although Magritte, he pushes a few of his buttons all right. I walk around the big dark stain, careful not to fall in, to take down a candle from the mantelpiece for a closer look. This year, we've lit a lot of candles. Standing on the doorsteps of Ireland in April, silently speaking to our nurses and doctors, and all the families grieving those lost to the virus. Lucky John Ashbury was dead, or it might have snuffed him out. New York got it fierce bad. I wanted to light one for John Hume. I did in my head. Sorry, John, I was just too tired. Then we will drift into the leaves of September, all auburn reds and sandy orange. I will be thirsty by then, but there'll be no water left in the taps. At this end of the cosmic cycle, that can happen round these parts, the outer suburbs of Nineveh. There will be a great heat soon, not like the one burning at the core of the earth, or the great fireball that kicked off this gig, giving birth to all this magnificent glory. But it may not be far off. I hope you brought your helmet and a year's supply of Ballygowan. I hope I have enough hydrogen, carbon and oxygen to see me through. They were on sale in Aldi last week, 3 for the price of 1, a right bargain I couldn't pass up.